Let's go fishing. This is part one of a 3-part series where you can see that I went out bass fishing the day before, but unfortunately was skunked and caught in the rain. There you can see the current was rushing and the tide was super low. I was just trying to get out after work, but like I said, I got caught in an awful storm. I tried to wait it out under the tree, but when I saw lightning strike near me, I knew it was time to sit in my car. And once the storm subsided, I went back out to see if I could get a bite. I tried almost every lure I had in multiple different locations, and I just did not want to give up, so I even fished until close to dark. At this point, you can't even see what I'm casting at. I think I might need to invest in a GoPro light. But thankfully, my buddy Eduardo had invited me out to catfish the next morning, and this guy is a real one. He catches large carp and large catfish out of the Potomac, and he wanted to link up and fish, and plus, since I've only been catfishing for about a month, he wanted to teach me the ways. Definitely go check his page out, you won't be disappointed. Like I said, this guy gets on monster carp and catfish. I'll link his TikTok page in the caption below. So we started out early morning, about 5 a.m. As you can see here, he's kind of explaining some catfishing tips to me. Now we got out super early because we wanted to beat the heat. It's been super awful heat in the area that we've been fishing, so we knew if we wanted a chance to get on some catfish, we had to get up early. Now he had only brought his carp bait today, so I figured I'd toss out my night crawlers on my high-low rig with a 1-ounce disc weight to see if either A, we could get some bait fish, or B, we could get a catfish on it first. And while I was waiting, we saw a ton of blowups in the water, so I figured I'd toss my rattle trap out to see if I could get any type of fish. I've heard there's some decent schoolie stripers in here, so that's what I was hoping for. But after casting around and around and almost getting it stuck in between rocks, I realized that this was not going to be a good bass fishing day. And thankfully, Eduardo's buddies Steve and Rodney showed up, and Steve was nice enough to give us some of his Kool-Aid chicken breast. Eduardo was also nice enough to hook me up with a float rig, as well as a heavier weight, teach me how to rig it up, as well as teach me how to put the bait on the circle hook, and then give me some tips on casting. He also hooked it up with some carp gear. Shout out to Eduardo, aka Slop Catching on TikTok. Bro is a real one, super cool to hang out with, and always happy to give tips and share fishing spots with people. And to me, that's what fishing's all about, making sure that everybody has a good time and catches some fish. So with that being said and a new bait tied on, I sent out the catfish rod to see what we could get. Now you can see me struggling here because I'm not used to casting this heavy of a bait, but I was able to make it work without snapping the line. Let's go. Unlike Eduardo, Steve, and Rodney, I did not have the super long catfish rod, so I had to cast out from the shore and then walk it up to the bank. Eduardo was also nice enough to let me use some of his rod holders and ended up sending them home with me. Super nice dude. So we let out some slag, popped it in the rod holder, put the bell on there, and got set up. And with a bait I've never tried on a rig I've never tried, but I know it works, I was super stoked to see what would happen. And thankfully, it didn't take long before I started getting some hits. Here we go. So I picked the rod up and began trying to get this fish in. But unfortunately, I'm not used to fishing with circle hooks. I usually fish with the pre-tied Eagle Claw Snell hooks on my high-low rig, where all I have to do is pick it up and reel. But as my buddy was telling me, you gotta set the hook first with these circle hooks. Lesson learned. Stay tuned for part 2.